There's over 700 champions in Raid Shadow Legends, you guys. And not only the legendaries and the mythicals are good. Let's talk about some uncommons that are slept on. And today I'm about to show you and teach you which uncommons are worth taking up to at least level 50, you guys. Let's get right into it. But before we get into any funny business, stop right there. Click on the link in the description box right now to get one free legendary and one amazing epic as you level up. Here are the exact steps you need to follow. Step 1. Log off of Flareon Play on PC and uninstall. If you've never installed Raid on your mobile phone before, this link is gonna work there as well. Step 2. Click the link and register with a brand new email. Step 3. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox, and here we go! You'll find Bambus here as well as Ugo when you get to level 15. Don't forget to use the promo code Supreme6 to get Supreme Gaelic for free! And play for 7 days to get Alice as well. This is an amazing account start in Raid, you guys, so click on my link right now and follow the steps. Let's get right into it, you guys. The most champion, the most uncommon of all time. Guys, Armiger is a hack to turn meter manipulation. Just an uncommon. But on his A1, he decreases the turn meter by 30% if this attack crits. On his A2, he brings a block revive and damage scales off enemy max HP. He's also a defense champ. Armiger is great for multiple reasons. Number 1, he's an uncommon, so you don't really need books to book him out. Just keep pulling mystery shards and at one point you're gonna book out your Armiger. No problem. Number 2, because he's an uncommon, he's gonna be really easy to build out, and he's your solution to dungeons like Ice Golem, where you can block revive the minions from respawning, and also very useful in Fire Knight, where you can decrease the turn meter by 30%. And I'll make this disclaimer once, and I'm not gonna make it anymore. Naturally, we're talking about uncommon champions, so you're gonna need better gear. Very good gear to be able to bring up an uncommon to smack as hard as a rare, epic, legendary can. You can never make an uncommon smack harder than a... I mean, I don't know if you can make an uncommon smack as hard as a legendary, but you will notice that on these guys, most of their utility comes from things like buffs, debuffs, turn meter steals, and little gimmicks and gadgets that you can use in their kit like this. So this turn meter, 30%, even though it's a conditional chance, you need a crit, sure. 30% is still a lot, and it's off the entire turn meter. So every account should have an Armiger sitting, built out, or about to be built out, but definitely sitting and waiting for you to pay attention to him, you guys. Worth investing in, taking up to maybe level 60. One of the few champions that I will take all the way up to level 60 on this list.
Right, got it.
The second champion is Zephyr Sniper. Again, uncommon barbarian, spirit champ. Her purpose is here on her A1, attacks all enemies. That is an AoE on an A1 on an uncommon champion, meaning you can spam that. Has a 15% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on each target by 1 turn. This is also really nice if it lands. Just a little extra utility there. She also brings a little bit of a continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's a long continuous heal, even though it's a small, tiny little percent. Zephyr Sniper, why do I keep calling her that? Zephyr Sniper is definitely a champ I would take up to level 50. I would advise you to take Zephyr Sniper maybe up to level 50, maybe not up to level 60, because there's gonna be champions that outclass her up in the ranks. Rares, epics, a bunch will come by. I know for a fact that in the Barbarians, we have a mirror copy skill here. Wait, was it Soulbound? Yeah, here. She comes with an AoE on her A1 that has an additional 25% chance of inflicting a critical hit. And sure, while you're not, like, the chance of locking out champions, Zephyr still comes with, but this is an AoE on an A1 as well that immediately outclasses your Zephyr Sniper, but she's still, you know, she's still good. She's still good.
Good, not great.
The next up on our list is Outlaw Monk. And in which case, will you want to level 50 Outlaw Monk? I wouldn't go ahead and level 60 him. But you choose an Outlaw Monk to help you in Clan Boss, because Outlaw Monk is a poisoner. Here he places 5% poison debuffs on the target for 2 turns. There is no conditionality here. You don't have to worry about any affinity, but you still have to build him with some accuracy, right? So he can actually land these poison debuffs and not have the enemies resist him. On his A1, he also has a 10% chance of granting an extra turn, which doesn't need any other conditionality to proc other than it's just a chance. So there you have it. Outlaw Monk can be quite a nice little poison champ if you didn't start your game with Kale and you went the Gaelic route and you don't have a poisoner for clan boss. The next up on your list is Elfguard. Elfguard is one of them champs that I would also advise you to bring up to maybe level 50, but don't try and bring her up to level 60 because she's gonna get outclassed fast. She has some utility here, close to Armiger, similar to Armiger's. She attacks one enemy and decreases the enemy's current turn meter by 50%, and that might seem like a lot at first glance, but then you have to pay attention to the enemy's current. The word current here doesn't just mean fruit, and it's not spelled so that it means fruit, you guys. What this skill means is that however much the enemy's turn meter is at, even if it's like at 10%, Elfguard's gonna bring it down by half. So you're looking at having this skill land when the enemy's turn meter has loaded for quite some time. That could be an actual substantial cut of the turn meter. On her A1, she has a little bit of chance of placing a weak decreased attack debuff for 1 turn, which is whatever. It's like, it's fine. The utility really comes here in the A2. But again, a lot of people prefer Armiger just because his turn meter decrease is at 30% off the entire meter and not just the enemy's current meter, and that's just a little more utility. But you can spam that because you can take that down to a 2-turn cooldown, so you don't really have to worry about overusing the skill, you know what I mean? And again, uncommons, incredibly easy to book out. Just use their doubles. Just use their doubles. Champion number 5, and we're already halfway through the list, is Satyr. Satyr, the Skinwalker, HP champ Satyr, comes with a little bit of chance of placing a weak decreased speed debuff for 2 turns on one enemy. It's fine. The decreased speed is always appreciated, no matter in what size, shape, or form it comes in, whether it's an increase of speed or decrease of enemy speed or turn meter control or whatever shape or form of speed you can obtain is good. We're not gonna take that back. But here on his A2, he attacks 4 times at random and decreases the turn meter by 15% if this attack crits. That is a 4 times chance of decreasing the turn meter. Wait, the way that this skill is phrased, and correct me if I'm wrong, and how I'm understanding it, is if all 4 hits crit, that is a 60% decrease of a turn meter? No, that can't be. If this attack, any of the 4-time attackers, slashers, land on the crit rate, he's gonna decrease the turn meter of the enemy by 15%. Which, if you're using against a single target, a single boss, say Fire Knight, because it's a quadruple hitter, you might as well. If you're gonna be taking him anywhere, that's the place. He's gonna decrease the turn meter by 15%, and 15% is good, especially if it's a big turn meter. And the decreased speed will help you against Fire Knight as well. If you're lacking champion, Satyr is an option. And he's, again, incredibly easy to book out. And I'm pretty sure he's farmable, a campaign farmable. So you can get a lot of doubles along the way. I'm not sure if Elfguard was also campaign farmable, but I'm almost sure. I'm gonna check that right now. Palace of Arabia, Elfguard, right there. Bam. Proven. Number 6 on our list is Shieldguard, you guys.
My name is Jeff.
Shieldguard has some interesting properties here. A really cool passive we're gonna be talking about. He's a defense champion, which is the first thing that I want to note. It's a really good thing to have a defense-based nuker. That way, when you build out your nuker to have a lot of defense, that means that they will get the job done of smacking hard and staying protected at the same time, surviving for longer in your fights. Let's see what Shieldguard does now. On his A1, he has a 30% chance of placing a weak decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, which again, always helpful to have some sort of decreased speed, increased speed, turn meter, control, manipulation. Anything in battles is gonna give you an advance. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense. On his A2, he attacks all enemies. AoE is really good. Fills this champion's turn meter by 20% on each critical hit. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense. So how I understand this turn meter fill, you guys, if you have 4 enemies, let's say, that is an 80% turn meter fill. That is almost an entire turn meter fill. And another cool thing about turn meter fill is that by the next time you take a turn, that is a cooldown off your skills as well. You can take that down to a 2-turn cooldown, you guys. This skill, this A2, can be spammed. If you build them with enough crit rate, crit damage, and defense, and sure, a little bit of speed. Actually, a little bit of speed. I think Shieldguard can be top tier. On his passive, he removes 1 debuff off of himself at the start of each turn. We have a Doom Priest type of cleanse here on himself, and thus making him solid uncommon champ. You could take him up to level 60 if you feel fancy with it. I think that this utility in his A2 is quite nice. On number 7, we have Saurus, a very questionable looking lizard man. Love the design of the skull. He looks like a crackhead. He attacks all enemies on an A1, which is just great. There's nothing extra to it, no extra effects or anything, but it is an AoE on an A1. You can spam that, right? On his A2, he attacks all enemies twice. That's a double slasher on an AoE, and he has a 10% chance of placing a 50% heal reduction debuff for 1 turn. Places a 50% heal reduction debuff if the target's current HP is less than or equal to 40%. A very specific number, but this skill has really good utility if you manage to actually land the heal reduction. So I would say that, you know, the extra heal reduction debuff here that he has a chance of placing, but the one that he actually places, 50% is good, it's helpful, and it's just a little sprinkle on top of the AoEs that he already brings to his standard kit. Saurus is just an uncommon, so building these out, booking out this skill to land on a 3-turn cooldown is actually nothing as well. So you can go ahead, bring him up to maybe level 50. I don't know if I would level 60 him. Double slasher AoE on an uncommon is crazy.
Nice.
Number 8 should be oh so familiar to you if you have gone through the tutorial multiple times. Sniper actually has utility, you guys. She attacks one enemy twice, has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a crit, and fills this champion's turn meter by 15% on each crit. So that extra 15% chance will be added on top of the crit rate that you already built her with. So you can get a 30% increase on this champion's turn meter if you crit both times. On her A2, she attacks all enemies twice, double hit her AoE, and has a little chance of placing a weak decreased speed debuff for 1 turn. Do I need to remind you that is an AoE decreased speed? Even though it's a weak decreased speed, it comes on an AoE, the enemies get attacked twice. There's a lot of utility there. Sure, it's gonna take a few bucks. You know, you're gonna get a lot of snipers for the amount of mystery shards you're gonna pull on your account, you guys. And Sniper can help you against Fire Knight, it can help you against Ice Golem. If you feel fancy, you can even take her up to Dragon, take her up to Campaign, Faction Wars. She's very well rounded.
Next!
Number 9 on our list is Duelist, the Bannerlord uncommon champ. Duelist is farmable from Karok Castle, thus very easy to get copies of. On her A1, she's gonna attack one enemy and heal by 20% of the damage inflicted, you guys. Self-sustainable queen. On her A2, she attacks one enemy and has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Stun by itself, on a 50% chance, you can book that up to a 75% chance of landing on a 2-turn cooldown. Very helpful attack champ. You could use her as a main nuker. Well, not main nuker, but one of your nukers for like potion keeps. Just something that focuses on one boss. Dragon, let's say. Well, most of the bosses are gonna resist this stun, right? The stun is a crowd control debuff that a lot of bosses are immune to. But for being a campaign farmable, for being a free uncommon champ, I would take a Duelist up to level 50 to help with nukes. Again, we're talking about uncommon champions that are gonna get outclassed very quick into your game. But if you're in need of Bannerlord's nukers at the stage of the game where you're at, you guys, Duelist is an option. And last but not least on our list, we have Admonitor, you guys. Admonitor brings a Vergus-like kit with what he has going on, and other than that, he also looks very scary to face. He's a free farmable from campaign as well. Now what Admonitor does, he attacks one enemy, places a shield buff on himself for 1 turn equal to the 10% of the damage inflicted, and that happens all the time because it's on an AoE. It's on an A1, he doesn't need a cooldown, there's no conditionality. You just need to stack up his damage as high as you can, so the 10% of this becoming a shield is actually substantial and matters, and that will happen with good gear, you guys. On his A2, he places a 50% ally protection buff on a target ally for 2 turns. Even though it's 1 target ally, it is a 50% ally protection. It's a strong one. For 2 turns, is also quite long, and you can take that down to a 2-turn cooldown with just as many as a few battles down, where was it? With a few runs down Hallowed Halls, you guys, you're set to get at least like, what, 5-6 if you're trying to get all your stars here and you're continuously farming for, I don't know why you would need he's free is what I meant to say. A lot of champions on this list are free, worth investing in, very easy to build out. But hey, you clicked on an uncommon champions video and I delivered, you guys, and I'll catch you guys again in the next one. Bye.